What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today, with the sell-off, now there's a couple things coming into this week. I talked about how data would not be affecting the market, and that's true. We don't really have a lot that's really going on. We did have Powell and Yellen. They were in front of Congress today, essentially talking about the debt, the ceiling debt, which is something I had mentioned earlier this week that it could be something that's going on this week. Uh, but ultimately, the shutdown, we could get a government shutdown on Friday. The essentially the debt ceiling needs to be suspended by Thursday, although that window is technically pushed out till the 18th. It just so happens that the 15th of October is when a lot more of the bigger contracts expire as well. So you got that expiration date around the 15th. So being said, everything is kind of correlated. It's something I've talked about how volatility is not going to go away. There's always going to be something that is going to come up, I think, between now and October 15th. And debt ceiling being that the government shutdown really isn't that big of a deal. It's more so the debt ceiling. This is all also why Powell has really delayed taper talks. I know Congress really hammered into Powell today about tapering and how it should be done sooner. So being said, um, his stance was still the same, that things aren't recovered in his eyes for him to start tapering. But we have to see. Right now, there's just a big battle about who's to blame on this whole debt ceiling and everything else. And everybody wants to point the finger. Nobody wants to take the blame. And so right now, the market is just in limbo with a debt ceiling, because that's ultimately what it is. It really has nothing to do with the shutdown. It's all debt ceiling and seeing what is going to come of that, because the defaults could crater the market. So that's something we definitely don't want. Yes, it's been the suspension of the debt ceiling has been pushed off. I don't recall how many years now. It's been quite a few years, like a couple decades here. But nonetheless, being said, where do we go from here? Until we really know what's going to happen with the debt ceiling stuff, we don't really know what the market's going to do. The market's essentially going to sell. And as you can see on SPX here, we sold straight out the gate coming into today. It didn't help. You had Powell and all them starting at 10 o'clock, so the market just continued to sell off. Then we did kind of find a bottom here. We pumped towards the end of the day only to retest the 50 on a lot of different things. SPX didn't even make it all the way back up to the 50 or even the 20 EMA on the hourly. So that's really saying something. There's a lot of heavy pressure on the sell side right now, especially you don't typically see not at least a retest at the 20 before a sell. We're not even getting that. And so being said, I think tomorrow there's going to be a gap down. Or maybe we stay stagnant and then gap down or push again tomorrow, or gap down and push up tomorrow. I still feel like there's another major leg down. I think we're going to break this 4309 mark, possibly hit that 4300. Essentially, that could be a strong possibility. A psychological number, that round number, is essentially what it could be aiming for. But after that, I think there's still, again, more. We still got big amounts of money that are coming off the books around the 15th. And then we do have, again, the debt ceiling stuff. If it's not signed, then they got till the 18th. So again, it's not going to directly affect the market, not the shutdown anyway, because the market or the government will shut down on Friday if there's no plan in place by Thursday. So being said, we have to see what is going to come of that. If there's any push, or if they come to terms with the fact that we can suspend the debt ceiling, then that is going to ultimately help us out. And then I think we'll start pushing from that point. Again, we really haven't had any any news to sell, right? We've been having these massive rip ups. I wasn't expecting this massive rip up from last week. Because of the Evergrande stuff, and nobody really knew what was going to come of that. That's essentially why we sold. because nobody knew how it was correlated with the U.S. markets, and we got clarity and we pushed up. And then today, or coming into this week, we just kind of stood flat, and then the talk about how the government was going to shut down because of the debt ceiling brought fear into the market again, and we tanked. And now we didn't even retest, and I think we're going to take again tomorrow, going into Thursday. So I don't expect a lot of. There's going to be a lot of volatility. I don't think we're going to bounce back tomorrow, unless again we get something from the debt ceiling, or on Thursday something is signed there. I don't think there's really going to be any reason to go up until we get that resolved. If that is something, again, and then we got till the 18th on that. So if there's nothing that really comes of that, and it's something that's just floating around the air, we might just sit stagnant a lot. So we might go one more leg down and then just sit flat for a while, which would be good because it actually puts us into a lot of different supports for a lot of big tech, and then kind of consolidates and pick up some shares going into earnings before they magically resolve this whole thing, and then the market just starts pushing up. Again, it has nothing to do with the shutdown. The shutdown has no effect to it unless you're actually working for the government. You're not affected. If you're in the markets, you're not affected by this. It is the debt ceiling, and that's what matters, is determining if we're going to default or not, and then the consequences that come with that, because we don't want to say that we'll have bigger problems if we default. So being said, the markets, as far as watch, I don't really have a watch list. Like I said, when we get in these sticky parts, there's no point putting a watch list out there, because all it's going to do is either chop you up or get you wrecked at this point. But like I said, you want to look at FANG, kind of go over Google. Google actually came up and almost perfectly retested the 50 on the daily today. I was kind of watching this one. I did short it a bit out of the gates, and then tried to get in calls. I got shaken out because I thought we were actually going to sell off more. This wicking action I did not like, and that's at a point earlier in today. I think our swim went down. So executing, I don't want to be in a position I couldn't execute to get in and out of. So I essentially just got out and kind of left it from that point. I did pick up some SQ shares and rode them up essentially to here, tagged out. And then as soon as I got in a profit, I got out. And there's something to remember in this market. When you got profit, you need to take it, because of the fact that swinging right now is extremely hard, and we're not in that window to swing. We're waiting for everything. I'm essentially waiting for October 15th to come around. And then around that point, if we do one more heavy leg down and then start basing, then that's when I'm going to start accumulating at that point, going into earnings, and realizing that towards the end of October is when big tech earnings are. So being said, that's what I'm waiting for. Snap, again, all just heavy selling today. I tried to actually pick this up earlier today, and I actually tried to pick it up here at the support. It did bounce a little bit, but then it broke and tagged me out. So out of Snap, we're looking for those. Ultimately, you want to look for those ones that had great earnings. This is the time to really start watching them, finding great supports, ultimately, is what I want to do. Even Amazon had investor day today. And they sold all the way down to the 200. It's been sitting around this 200. So this is one I want to keep on watch. If it doesn't break that 200, it should start consolidating here, possibly picking up longer term calls on this. If that is the case, again, you want to make sure that you're covering past, I think, the 15th, just to be safe, shares or longer term contracts at this point. So I've been trying to play longer term contracts. Because weeklies will get chewed up very fast in this volatile market, especially if you're not on the right side of things. So you can't always be 100% on the right side of things. So being said, Roadblocks, another one I want to watch. I've been in and out of this one. I actually wasn't it yesterday. I should have took profit yesterday, but I was lucky enough it popped back. I took profit on the pop, and then I missed the re-entry on this. I was watching it, but the rest of the market was actually still kind of selling off while this was pushing. So I want to keep an eye on this. I'd like it really down here. If we can get it at 73, it's definitely a pickup at that point. I want to see if we do attempt to reach that, but we'll have to see. Shop had some heavy selling today. But Shop, like I said, it's still at support. I got the 200. This is why I'm talking about that second leg, because I'm kind of looking for around that 1312 mark. I'm looking for that around that 200 EMA. As long as the stock can sit there and hold, you can play this intraday. You normally get a typical solid bounce. The 200, like you can see on Amazon, it has come close to the 200 and bounced out of here. It's come close to the 200 and bounced again. But it looks like it might actually break here on Amazon here, so it's something to watch. But first bounces are always fantastic to catch if it's intraday. Airbnb did quite a bit of selling. I would like to see this back down. We'll see where that goes. Your 200 is sitting around that 158 mark, so I want to see where that goes. Lemonade back down into the buy zone. But one thing I don't like about this is I think we would have had our breakout if we didn't have today. I think we would have gone back up, but got rejected off the 200 and the 20 here, and then just took a dive. So TTD, it's also sitting around there. It's also sitting at support. A lot of these are starting to sit at support. What's concerning, what's not really concerning, but you definitely want to watch. This is what's nice about some of these is you can get in these positions and then just put stops right underneath them if you're playing shares, or monitor them with alerts if you're playing calls. As long as it doesn't break these major supports, I think you're good. You're seeing a lot of them that are coming back down to the 200, which is we needed for a long time because we ran really solid for a couple months. So being said, Tesla did some selling. It's fought back and forth today. Like I said, I think it'll pull back a little bit further. I think we probably get a retest of the 750 before we try to come back up to the 800 possibility. If we get another week of selling, I want to see how that one plays out. Apple in itself, still holding, hasn't done much. I think it might just consolidate here. Might get one more leg down. Have to see. Like I said, if we get one more leg down, I'll be a lot more confident that a lot of these will start holding better than they are right now. Again, it just there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And then, like I said, the Democrats and Republicans have really been going at it about the whole debt ceiling thing, and it seems different than normal. They haven't been so cutthroat, especially with what has been going on with the pandemic and everything. Everybody's extremely concerned. So I think that's bringing a little bit more emotion, if you will, into the situation. So we have to see what happens for sure. So like I said, we can project. Like I said, I think we still got 2 more weeks of this volatility. Again, the 18th is when it's up, unless something they can suspend it. But aside from that, I think we got 2 more weeks of this chop and this dramatic volatility is very much going to stick around till then. So again, I don't want to make this video too long. It's more of a market sentiment, a state of the market, as opposed to a watch list or anything like that. Again, having a watch list every night is not going to help you. A lot of times you need to be patient, just wait for the right setup. And if you are trying to take positions every day, you're going to get chopped up and wrecked. So it's better just to wait and be patient until the plays are set up, or play very small. Like even over the past couple of weeks, I've played extremely small. I haven't played. I played a couple big positions, but most likely, I take smaller positions or shares or longer term with time on good stock setups, only because of the way the market's set up right now. But once everything kind of resets, and then going into the next earning run, then you can start putting on more size and going for longer swings until then. So if you made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.